The first exercise had you downloading a map package called Fundamentals and then just answering a few questions about the data that you see in your map. To download the data from the course, you would just simply click on the fundamentals and it would go to your download folder. From there, you can just double click it to open it. When it opens, you're going to see something that looks like this. So the first thing that you were asked to do for this is to change the color of the townships to any color that you want. And you can do this in one of several ways. You can just simply right click on the color here and then select what color that you want and change it there. You can also double click on the symbol to get your symbol selector to give you a few more options and even some hatching and so forth. So you could have changed it in this area here, or come over here and change it in this area. So a number of different ways to do that. The next thing that it asked you to do was to label the townships. To label the townships, we just right-click on the township and go to Label Features. And you notice that it doesn't label all the townships, and it's because it's not picking the right field from the attribute table. So to change that, we can just double-click on our data layer to go into Layer Properties, click our Labels tab, and then change the field that it's labeling upon to Municipality 1, and then hit OK, and our townships are labeled. The next section was asking you a number of questions about the data that you see on the map, specifically the attribute table. To open up the attribute table, you right-click on it and go to Open Attribute Table. Another shortcut for that is to hold your Control key down and double-click on it. It will also open up your attribute table. So you were asked how many townships are in Lebanon County. And if we get that answer by looking down here, it's saying that we have 26 townships. And if you look here, you can see that it goes from 0 to 25, which actually means then it's 26. So we can look at that area as well. It then asks you what township has the highest median income. And if you scroll over to the median income field, you could just scan it to see which one is the highest, but probably a little bit easier would be to sort it either descending or ascending, so you can pick whichever one. I'm going to do descending, and then you can see that the 81,500 for South Londonderry Township is the highest median income. So that's how you would get that answer. And then very similar question looking at which townships have the most Hispanic population and which ones have the least. So if we sort of descending again, we find that the municipality with the most is Lebanon, and then the one with the least, I have to find my field again here. The one with the least is down here, and that is Cold Spring, and that's only because there's really no people in that. Probably a better answer would be Heidelberg Township. So that's how you can figure that one out. The next thing that it asked you to do is to select Jackson Township in the attribute table. So you look for Jackson Township. Again, if it makes it a little easier, you can just sort ascending so it puts them in alphabetical order. Then you can select Jackson by clicking on this gray area here to select the record. So now that it's selected, you'll ask, well, what happens to it on the map? And if we move our attribute table out the way, we're going to notice that it is also selected on the map. So there's that correspondence between the attribute table and the map. To clear this out, we can just hit this clear selected features, or another way that we could clear that out is by just clicking this in an empty white area on the map. How do you make multiple selections in the attribute table? And we can do this in a couple of different ways, and it depends on what you're selecting. If you are selecting townships that are adjacent to each other, and let's say that we want to select the first 5 townships, I can click the first one, hold my shift key down, and select the 5th one, and it will get everything in between. If we don't want to do that, let's say that we want to select ones that are not adjacent, we can select the first one, then we hold down our control key to select non-adjacent townships. So it's just essentially working with your control and shift keys. Same thing on a map. You can make multiple selections by holding down your shift key. So like let's say I just want to select these particular townships. I can do that just by holding down the shift key. And again, to clear it, I can click in an empty white area, or I can use this tool here to clear it out. And it's a good idea to always clear your map after you do a selection for whatever reason, because when we get further along in the course, if you forget to clear it, some of the tools will only run on that which is selected. So the next question was, what tool is best for finding out about attributes for one feature on the map? And that would be the identify tool. If we click on that and then click on, say, Bethel Township, we'll get all the attributes that are in the attribute table for just Bethel Township, and we can kind of take a look at them. So this is really a great tool when you're just trying to learn a little bit more about a particular feature that you see on the map. The next question was, using the measure tool, measure the length of Cold Spring Township. Approximately how many miles is it? So you would grab your measure tool, you would click from end to end, and this is just approximate, and double click to end it. And it's giving us our length in meters, which we don't want. So to switch to miles, we go to this little drop down and then go to distance, and then miles, and then it shows us just a little over 10 miles in length. So the last thing was asking you to just practice your zoom tools. And this is important because I think that's one thing that kind of gets frustrating is if you don't have those mastered, getting your map position completely correctly can be difficult. So just as a reminder, this tool is best to use to draw a box around an area that you want to zoom in this case, Cornwall Township. These tools move you in and out just a little bit. So if I just want to get in just a hair tighter, I can hit that. And then if I wanted to, it's kind of cut off here, I can use my pan to kind of bring it down so that it's all in there. I suggest not using this tool because I think it's hard to use well. I think using some of these other tools to zoom is better. The other thing you can do is you can use your scroll button on your mouse to zoom in and out slightly. So like if you just kind of want to bring it in and out, that scroll button is great for that. And then last, don't forget about this tool. If you accidentally click your map and you lose the extent that you had and it's panicking and frustrating, just go back to last extent. And this is just like going backward and forward when you're navigating the internet. This allows you to go back to previous map extents. So that was your first exercise. Hopefully it all went really well for you.